Money isn't a thing, it's a conversation. Right now, you're having a very specific conversation with wealth. And it sounds like maybe, but not yet, but what if? But I'm not ready. Wealth hears that and says, all right, I'll wait. See, most people think manifestation is about convincing the universe to give them something. But the universe isn't withholding anything. You are. Through hesitation, through worthiness wounds, through the belief that wanting money makes you less spiritual. Today, we're changing the conversation. We're going to speak to wealth the way it wants to be spoken to, with certainty, with gratitude, with the assumption that it already belongs to you. You're here right now, and that's not an accident. I want you to really take that in. This video appearing in your feed today, you clicking on it, you listening to my voice right now, none of this is random. Something in you is ready. Maybe you're exhausted from trying so hard. Maybe you're tired of doing all the right things and still watching your bank account stay stuck. Maybe you woke up this morning and something in your chest said, enough, I'm ready for something different. That feeling, that quiet desperation, or that sudden hope, that's what brought you here. I'm going to tell you something that might make you uncomfortable at first, but stay with me because this is where everything changes. You're not struggling with money because you don't know enough about manifestation. You've probably read the books, watched the videos, done the affirmations. You know about the law of attraction. You know about visualization and gratitude and asking the universe. You know all of it. And yet here you are, still worried about bills, still calculating every purchase, still feeling that knot in your stomach when you check your bank balance. Here's what nobody wants to tell you, because it sounds too simple, too easy, maybe even too good to be true. You're not failing at manifestation. You're actually succeeding brilliantly at manifesting exactly what you believe about yourself and money. Every single day, you're manifesting your hidden beliefs, the ones you don't even know you're carrying. The ones that whisper, you're not the kind of person who has money easily. The ones that say, wealthy people are different from you, luckier, more deserving, more educated, more something. Those beliefs are running in the background like a computer program, and they're creating your reality with perfect precision. And I know that might sting to hear, because part of you wants to say, but I've been trying, I've been doing the work, I've been positive. I know you have, darling. I see your effort. But here's the truth that will set you free. Effort isn't what changes your financial reality. Consciousness is. And consciousness doesn't shift through more trying. It shifts through recognition, through a fundamental change in who you believe yourself to be. You're exhausted from trying to manifest money. And I'm here to tell you that you can stop trying right now. Not because you're giving up, but because trying is actually the problem. When you try to manifest something, you're operating from the belief that you don't have it. You're reinforcing the very lack you're trying to overcome. It's like trying to fall asleep. The harder you try, the more awake you become. Manifestation works the same way. The desperate energy of trying pushes away the very thing you want. What I'm offering you today is different from anything you've heard before, and I know that's a bold claim because you've probably heard a lot. But this isn't another technique to try. This isn't another visualization or affirmation routine to add to your morning. This is a complete shift in how you understand your relationship with money and with the universe itself. This is about recognizing that, in the invisible realm, which is more real than anything you can touch, your wealth already exists in its complete form. It's already done. It's already yours. The only question is whether you're going to let yourself have it. See, most teachings about manifestation are still operating from a paradigm of lack. They're teaching you how to ask better, how to want better, how to believe better. But all of that is still coming from the assumption that you're separate from what you desire. That wealth is over there, and you're over here, and you need to build a bridge between the two. But that's not how the universe works. That's not how consciousness works. You're not separate from your wealth. You never have been. You've just been taught to believe you are, and that belief has become the invisible wall between you and everything you desire. I'm going to walk you through exactly how to dissolve that wall. Not through more effort, but through less resistance. Through a radical acceptance of what's already true about you. And I'm warning you now, this is going to challenge everything you've been taught about deserving and earning and working hard for what you get. Because the universe doesn't operate on those principles. Nature doesn't operate on those principles. Have you ever seen a flower trying to earn the right to bloom? Have you ever seen a tree working hard to deserve its leaves? No. They simply allow what's already encoded in them to emerge. And you, my dear, have wealth encoded in you. It's part of your spiritual DNA. You were born into a universe of infinite abundance, and your only work is to stop arguing with that truth. So if you're ready to stop exhausting yourself with the wrong kind of effort, if you're ready to discover why nothing has worked so far and what actually will work, if you're ready to feel different about money starting today, not someday, but right now, then take a breath and settle in. Because what you're about to hear is going to rearrange your entire understanding of wealth, prosperity, and your own power. And by the time we're done, you won't be the same person who started this video. That's not a promise, it's just what happens when truth lands in a ready heart. Let me tell you about a woman I once knew. Actually, I was this woman, so I can tell you this story from the inside, from the place where it hurt and then where it healed. For years, I prayed for money, really prayed. I would sit in my room and visualize checks coming in the mail. I would write affirmations in my journal every single morning. I am wealthy, money flows to me easily, I am a magnet for abundance. I said these things so many times they lost all meaning. They became just sounds, just words I was forcing through my teeth while my heart whispered, liar, liar, liar. I would look at my bills and try to feel grateful, but underneath the gratitude was this seething panic. I would thank the universe for my abundance while mentally calculating which bill I could pay late. I was doing everything the books told me to do, and I was exhausted. More than that, I was starting to feel betrayed. Betrayed by these teachings that promised me wealth if I just believed enough, if I just tried hard enough, if I just maintained my vibration. What did that even mean? Maintain your vibration, when the electric company was sending disconnection notices. One day, I just stopped, not from giving up exactly, but from a kind of collapse. I was so tired of trying. I was so tired of performing positivity while terror ate away at my insides. I sat on my bed with my empty wallet in my hands, and instead of praying or affirming or visualizing, I just said thank you for my wealth. And here's the strange part. I didn't say it as an affirmation. I didn't say it to convince myself or to manipulate the universe into giving me something. I said it because in that moment, something in me knew it was true. Not true in my bank account, but true in some other dimension I couldn't see but could somehow feel. It was the weirdest sensation. My logical mind was screaming that I was delusional, that I had $23 to my name and rent due in 4 days. But underneath that panic was this bizarre, unshakable knowing. The wealth is already here. I couldn't explain it. I still can't. Not really. But I felt it in my body, in my bones. The wealth wasn't coming, it had already arrived. I just couldn't see it yet with my physical eyes. I went about my day feeling insane and also feeling lighter than I had in months. I stopped checking my bank account obsessively. I stopped mentally rehearsing disaster. I stopped defending my poverty in conversations with friends. When someone asked how I was doing financially, instead of launching into my usual story about struggling and barely making it, I just said, I'm taken care of, and I meant it. Not because the evidence had changed, but because something in my consciousness had shifted so fundamentally that I couldn't go back to the old story even if I tried. Within 3 days, money showed up, from 4 different directions I never saw coming. An old friend repaid a debt I'd completely forgotten about. A client from 2 years ago reached out with a new project. I got a refund check in the mail from an overpayment on insurance I didn't even know I'd made. My aunt sent me a card with money in it for no reason, just thinking of you. In 3 days, I had more than enough for rent, and then some. Now I can already hear what you're thinking, because I would have thought it too back then. You're thinking that's nice for you, but that was just coincidence. Or you're thinking that's nice for you, but my situation is different. And I understand that resistance because I lived in it for years. But here's what I need you to hear. The money wasn't the miracle. The money was just the evidence. The real miracle was that I stopped being the woman who didn't have money and became the woman who did. Not in my circumstances first, but in my consciousness first. And the circumstances had no choice but to follow. This is what I mean when I say the invisible realm is more real than the physical. Your bank account is just a photograph, a delayed image of your consciousness. It's showing you who you were being, what you were believing, what you were claiming as true about yourself maybe days or weeks or months ago. When you change your consciousness, you're changing the photograph that hasn't been developed yet. You're changing what will show up in your account not someday, but as soon as the universe can orchestrate the details. Let me give you another way to understand this, because I know this sounds mystical and maybe hard to grasp. Think about wealth like a radio station. Right now, as you're listening to me, there are hundreds of radio signals passing through the air around you. Music, talk shows, news broadcasts, all of it happening simultaneously in the same space. But you can't hear any of it unless you have a radio tuned to the right frequency. The stations don't stop broadcasting just because you can't hear them. They're always on, always available, always transmitting. Wealth is like that. It's a frequency that's always broadcasting. The universe is always transmitting abundance, infinite supply, more than enough for everyone. That signal never stops. It's constant. It's available right now. But if your internal radio, your consciousness, is tuned to the frequency of lack, if you're broadcasting, "I don't have enough, I'm always struggling, nobody values what I do," then you cannot receive what's being broadcast on the frequency of abundance. You see, the universe doesn't argue with you. It doesn't try to convince you that you're wrong. It simply says, "Your wish is my command." You declare lack, and it provides experiences that confirm lack. You declare wealth, and doors open to wealth. I've watched this play out so many times, it would make your head spin. A woman came to me once, a writer who couldn't sell her work. She'd written 3 novels, sent them to dozens of publishers, and received nothing but rejection letters. She was bitter. "The industry is closed," she said. "Unless you know someone, you can't get in." I asked her a simple question. "When you imagine your book in a reader's hands, what do you feel?" She looked at me like I'd grown a second head. "I don't imagine that," she said. "I imagine the rejection letter. I'm trying to prepare myself." There it was. She was broadcasting rejection and wondering why she kept receiving it. I had her do something radical. Every single day, for just 5 minutes, she was to close her eyes and really feel what it would be like to hold her published book. Not to visualize some distant, hazy future, but to step into that reality now, to feel the weight of the book in her hands, to imagine opening it and seeing her name on the title page, to feel the satisfaction, the joy, the quiet triumph of it. "But that feels like lying to myself," she protested. "No," I told her. "Worrying is lying to yourself. Worry is using your imagination to create what you don't want. This is using your imagination for its intended purpose to claim what is yours." She did it, every day. And something shifted. She stopped talking about the unfairness of the industry. She stopped checking her email 17 times a day for rejection letters. She wrote a new book not from desperation, but from inspiration. And within 4 months, she had a publisher interested. Within 6, she had a contract. Did the universe magically drop a book deal in her lap? No. But when she changed her frequency, she started showing up differently. She stopped clinging and started creating. She stopped broadcasting lack and started broadcasting certainty. And the universe, as always, matched her frequency. This is how it works. You don't chase wealth. You don't beg for it. You claim it by aligning with the frequency on which it already exists. And here's what most people miss. Abundance isn't just about money. It's about every good thing flowing toward you. Love, health, opportunities, divine connections. When you treat wealth as separate from the rest of your life, you create a split consciousness. You say, "I want money, but I'm content without love." Or, "I need success, but I'll accept poor health." This is confusion. This is spiritual fragmentation. The universe doesn't operate in compartments. It operates as a whole. When you claim you're good in one area, you open the floodgates in all areas. I've watched this happen time and again. A woman comes to me desperate for money. We work on her consciousness. Suddenly, not only does the money appear, but she meets the love of her life. Her chronic pain disappears, and estranged family members reach out. Why? Because she shifted her fundamental relationship with receiving. You see, most of us were trained to be spiritual beggars. We were taught that wanting is greedy, that receiving means someone else goes without, that we must earn every crumb through suffering and sacrifice. This is the poverty consciousness that keeps entire generations locked in lack. But the divine doesn't think in terms of scarcity. There is no shortage in spirit. The same creative force that produces millions of roses each spring without effort, that fills the sky with stars beyond counting, that grows an entire oak tree from a single acorn, this is the force backing your desires. Your good is not taking from anyone. The universe doesn't subtract, it only adds and multiplies. When you prosper, you create a vacuum that pulls others upward. Your success becomes permission for those around you to claim their own. This is the true meaning of abundance consciousness. So when you declare your good, declare it all. Don't nibble at the edges of your desires. Don't whisper half-hearted requests into the void. Speak with the authority of one who knows their inheritance. Say it clearly. Infinite Spirit, open the clue. Way for my immediate supply. Let all that is mine by divine right now reach me in great avalanches of abundance. This isn't arrogance. This is alignment. This is you, finally remembering who you are. You see, most people spend their entire lives rearranging furniture in a burning house. They're trying to optimize, strategize, manifest harder, when what they really need to do is walk out the door into the garden that's been waiting for them all along. The subconscious mind doesn't care about your 5-year plan. It doesn't respond to force or frantic energy. It responds to the feeling of already having what you desire. It responds to gratitude expressed in advance. It responds to joy now, not joy promised later when conditions change. Think of a child asking their parent for something. The child who whines and begs and clings to their parent's leg in desperation, what happens? Resistance, irritation, a no that's really about the energy, not the request. But the child who asks, once, clearly, then goes off to play, confident their parent heard them, that request gets answered. That trust gets honored. This is how you must approach the infinite. State your desire. Plant your seed with faith. Then go play. Go live. Go enjoy what you already have. The desperate grip, the obsessive checking, the anxious monitoring, these are not signs of faith. These are the weeds that choke your harvest before it breaks ground. I've watched people do vision boards for years and wonder why nothing changes. They've got the pictures, they've got the affirmations, they've got the morning routine, but underneath, there's a trembling, quaking fear that says, will this really work? Am I doing it right? What if I'm not worthy? That fear is not a small thing. That fear is the hand you're using to shove away every gift the universe is trying to deliver. Your work isn't to manifest harder. Your work is to let go of the terror that you won't be taken care of. Your work is to remember that you live in a friendly universe that already knows what you need. I want to tell you something that changed everything for me. I was once working with a woman who'd been affirming for prosperity for 3 years. 3 years. Every morning, every night, she'd stand in front of the mirror and declare, I am wealthy, I am abundant, money flows to me easily, and nothing. Not a penny more than she started with. When we sat down together, I asked her, what happens in your body when you say those words? She went quiet. Then she said, I feel like I'm lying. There it was. The whole truth. Every affirmation was bumping up against a wall of disbelief so thick, her words couldn't penetrate it. She wasn't affirming prosperity. She was affirming the gap between where she was and where she wanted to be. She was reminding herself, twice a day, of her lack. So I gave her something different. I said, stop affirming what you don't believe. Start with what you can believe. And we found it. She couldn't believe she was wealthy, but she could believe that God knew her needs. She couldn't believe money would flow easily, but she could believe she was guided. We started there. I am divinely guided to my perfect good. The universe knows what I need and when I need it. Something softened in her. Within 2 weeks, she received an unexpected job offer. Within a month, she'd paid off a debt she'd been carrying for years. Not because the new affirmation was more powerful, but because she wasn't fighting herself anymore. She'd found the doorway she could actually walk through. This is what I mean about working with your consciousness, not against it. You can't bully yourself into a new state of being. You can't force faith, but you can find the small opening, the little place where belief is already alive, and you can walk through that door. And here's what happens when you do. The universe meets you there. It doesn't wait until you've perfected your faith. It doesn't require you to believe 100% before it moves on your behalf. It responds to the sincere desire, the honest reaching, the real willingness. And that's what changes everything, because it means you don't have to wait. You don't have to delay your life until you become spiritually perfect. You don't have to put your dreams on hold until you've mastered every principle. You can start right now, exactly where you are, with whatever faith you have, even if it's small, even if it's shaky. I remember a man who came to me in absolute desperation. His business was failing, his marriage was crumbling, his health was deteriorating. And he said to me, with tears in his eyes, "I want to believe. I really do. But I don't know how to make myself believe something I can't see." And I said to him, "Then don't try to believe what you can't see. Just speak what you want to see. Just declare the truth you want to become real. Your word has power not because you feel it, but because it's the law. Every time you speak it, you're setting forces in motion. Every time you claim it, you're building a bridge between the invisible and the visible." He started simple. Just one statement every morning. "Divine intelligence is now solving every problem in my life." He didn't feel it. He didn't see immediate results, but he kept speaking it. And within weeks, everything began to shift. Solutions appeared where there had been dead ends. Reconciliation happened where there had been only bitterness. Opportunities opened where there had been only closed doors. Not because he believed perfectly, but because he spoke consistently. He set the law in motion with his words, and the law did what it always does, it responded. You see, your words are like seeds. You don't plant a seed and then dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You plant it, you water it, and you trust the process. You don't have to see the root system forming underground. You don't have to witness every stage of growth. You just keep tending it, and in time, it breaks through the soil. That's what faith is. It's not seeing, it's knowing. It's continuing the work even when the evidence hasn't yet appeared in your physical reality. And here's what I want you to understand. This process doesn't require suffering. It doesn't require years of waiting. The universe doesn't reward patience with delay. It rewards alignment with manifestation. The moment you truly let go of how it will come, the moment you release the frantic grip of control, you create space for the miracle. You stop blocking your own good with doubt and anxiety. I've watched people turn their entire lives around in weeks, not because they worked harder, but because they finally stopped working against themselves. They stopped the internal war between what they wanted and what they feared. You see, most people are like someone pressing the accelerator and the brake at the same time. They affirm abundance while internally bracing for lack. They pray for love while believing they're unworthy. They speak success while expecting failure. The universe can't deliver to a mixed signal. It responds to your dominant vibration, to the frequency you're consistently broadcasting. And your dominant vibration isn't what you say, it's what you truly believe beneath the words. So how do you shift that belief? How do you reprogram the subconscious mind that's been running the same fearful patterns for years? You do it through persistent, gentle repetition. You do it through speaking to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you deeply love. You do it through catching the fearful thought and replacing it not once, but every single time it appears. This isn't suppression. This isn't pretending the fear doesn't exist. This is consciously choosing which thoughts you will feed, which thoughts you will allow to grow and influence your reality. Think of your mind as a garden again. Weeds will always try to grow, that's their nature. But a gardener doesn't abandon the garden because weeds appear. She simply pulls them and plants something better in that space. Every time a thought of limitation appears, and it will appear, because you're human and you've been conditioned, you have a choice. You can water it with your attention, letting it grow into anxiety and then into manifestation. Or you can uproot it immediately and plant a seed of truth in its place. "I am afraid I won't have enough" becomes "the universe is my unfailing supply." "I am unworthy of love" becomes "I am a divine expression of love itself." Nothing ever works out. For me becomes "the universe is constantly conspiring in my favor." Your words are gardeners. They tend the soil of your subconscious, and whatever you plant there must grow. This is not metaphor. This is the precise mechanism by which your inner world constructs your outer experience. I've watched people change their entire lives simply by changing their vocabulary. A woman who constantly referred to her work as "my burden" found herself exhausted and resentful. When she began calling it "my service," the same activities that once drained her began to energize her. Nothing in her circumstances changed, only her words. And yet everything changed. This is why complaining is so spiritually dangerous. Every complaint is a declaration of more of what you don't want. You're literally ordering it from the universe like a meal from a menu. I'll have more financial struggle, please, with a side of difficult relationships. And the universe, being a perfect servant, says, right away. Some of you are thinking, but I'm just being honest about my feelings. Isn't it healthy to express them? Here's the distinction. There's a difference between acknowledging a current condition and reinforcing it. You can say, I observe that my bank account is currently low, and I now claim my divine supply, versus, I'm so broke, I'm always broke, I'll never have money. One is an observation followed by a declaration of truth. The other is a covenant with lack. Watch how you speak about your body, your relationships, your career, your future. Are you prophesying defeat or victory? Every casual statement is a magnet, attracting its equivalent. I always get sick in winter is an invitation to illness. My body is divinely protected and radiantly healthy is an invitation to wellness. Your subconscious doesn't recognize jokes, sarcasm, or just venting. It takes everything literally and goes to work, making it real. This is why you must become fiercely deliberate with your words, not rigid or fearful, but conscious and intentional.